no competition for the player. Working all day long, this repetition got my weight up. Pumping like a piston, I can hear him yelling, wait up. Whole world I've been lifting, plot is thickening, I stay up. You don't know what it cost me. Now I'm chilling in the penthouse, living lofty. Pray before you cross me, shut up while I'm talking. While I run up stocks, you all on my IG stalking. Man, get out my face, keep on stepping to a king. Yo, you bound to catch a fade. Hope you live to see tomorrow. It ain't had to be that way. Go ahead and try to plead your case. I'm just trying to feed a face. Got my family and my crew. I'm just trying to keep it straight. Name your price and we inflated. We came here from out of state. Landlord and this eviction got you feeling out of place. Way back was poverty stricken. Now I kick it with the grace. Call it what you wanna call it, but I know it's fake. I really am a diamond from the dirt. It was really perfect timing in a blur. Wrote the record in the curse. Off the record, I had no one to console me when it hurts. For what it's worth, the glass is half full. I'm foolish, guess you were right. Doubted my whole life, but that all changes tonight. The price is going up, it ain't what it was in the past. I shoot gets your last laugh. You in danger, danger, danger. Got revenge in my eyes, nah, you in danger, danger, danger. I'll get even when I beat the odds. You in danger, danger, danger. Man, come on, it ain't no surprise. Hard to look me in the eyes when I feel anger. Who am I? Ha, danger. Got the recipe, ain't really hard to re-up. Ay, heroes in my city, yeah, they need us. They stop calling me soon as I put my feet up. They all know I'm dangerous, I'm always down to tee up. Like a party out in Boston, all that talking is exhausting. I've been swimming in my profits, better come to me with caution. Pity you, so I don't mind you. You had to front the city just so they could get behind you. Man, that's a shame. I feel more and more strange when I see what I became. All this power, all the money, guess it come with all the fame. When I look back in the mirror, I'm the only one to blame. What a shame. Put my blood, sweat, and tears all in the game. Too much love for my city, I'm just here to play my part. Way too many lost souls who just don't know where to start. Find my way out through the art, I'll do whatever it takes. Call it what you wanna call it, but I know it's fake. I really am a diamond from the dirt. It was really perfect timing in a blur. Wrote the record in the curse. Off the record, I had no one to console me when it hurts. For what it's worth, the glass is half full. I'm foolish, guess you were right. Doubted my whole life, but that all changes tonight. The price is going up, it ain't what it was in the past. I shoot gets your last laugh. You in danger, danger, danger. Got revenge in my eyes, nah, you in danger, danger, danger. I'll get even when I beat the odds. You in danger, danger, danger. Man, come on, it ain't no surprise. Hard to look me in the eyes when I feel anger. Who am I? Ha, danger. Dangerous, dangerous. Dangerous, dangerous. Dangerous, dangerous. Who am I?
Welcome to WYCD Wicked. That stands for What You Can Do. How is everybody doing tonight? I'm doing fantastic. Let's say hi to the gang. Soul Life. Hello. Pinkerbell. Hello. Wicked Foxy Dragon. Good to see you. Shade Dragon. Good to see you. The Anti-Corporatist. 1 second drop in a trailer. Yikes. Fair enough. And thank God I thought I was dropping this at the SeaTac Airport. Instead, it's just this lot nearby. Well, good for you. Pinkerbell. Sorry, I'm laughing at the jinx. Rex Trek. Boomer Toked. Evening all. Good to see you. Pinkerbell. This song is a banger. I agree. That is Danger by Bryce Green. Bryce Green is just fantastic. I've been listening to Bryce Green tracks off audio all day. It's just so good. I don't know when I'm gonna do the radio thing. You know what? Probably tomorrow on a Wicked Wednesday. Wednesdays now the day where I do whatever I feel like. It should be every day in theory, but it isn't. For the sake of alliteration, the tea we're drinking today is a black coffee, the Starbucks Verona Blend roast, delicious, and also the what you can do. It's going to be a little bit different, folks, until we have peace in Gaza. What you can do tonight is write your representatives and demand a ceasefire. Ask them to voice their support for a ceasefire, regardless of what party they're a part of, regardless of what you think they will do, of how you think they'll respond. For the sake of your own soul, use the link in the description and do your part to achieve peace on earth. Very, very easy. But we're not going to be watching news about that because this crowd gets it. We don't need further... I don't think more sadness will achieve more action from us. I think it will drain our energy. I think it'll make us less likely to save lives. And so the plan is just to keep getting informed about the things we might need to be informed about, with the understanding that the action we should be taking is contacting every one of our representatives and asking them to demand a ceasefire. And that will be that. So, two things. First, the clips tonight. The clips for this first show tonight are a smattering of things I wanted to look at. Some I've already seen. Some are viewer suggestions. Some are both. But regardless, they are interesting. I want to talk about them with you. I feel like that'll be useful. Then there's a poll. There's a poll in the comments I'd like y'all to weigh in on. Let me give you the background for why this is a question at all. I think that Sidney Powell testimony is juicier than a $100 steak. I can't wait to bite into it. However, it is worth noting that it's a known strategy of the Trump team to leak sensitive information. The ABC got a hold of the testimony. We don't really know how, but we know that they got it shortly after the Trump team would have received it. One hopes that was just dry skin. We'll see. Or no, maybe it's just the light. Anyway, we don't know if it's good. In other words, to be spreading around this testimony, to be acting as the communication platform for a bunch of traitors. On the other hand, it's just us kittens. It's just us. I don't think we've got a whole lot of Trumpists watching, and it might be it will be informative, frankly, to look at the Sidney Powell testimony. And further, as a general rule, I am pro spreading of information. I think if you are trying to stop information from going around, generally speaking, that's a bad thing. And generally speaking, that should be avoided. And this is information we have access to, so worth considering. Okay, in other words, I'm undecided. There's a poll about it. I'll do what you guys think is best. We can do a call-in show, which is plenty of fun, or we can look at the Sidney Powell testimony and understand what that means about the case. I will say this. I've heard chunks of it, and if Trump thinks that somehow the other people knowing what Sidney Powell testified about will make them think, oh, they don't have an airtight case against us. Oh, I can stay quiet about this, that, or the other thing. He's mistaken, I would assume. But then again, perhaps it's even worse than we thought. Somehow, perhaps it is even worse. Somehow, perhaps Trump wants to spread that around so that he only gets convicted for the things that Powell said he did, and we don't find out that it turns out he had plans for a shooting war. I don't know. Anyway, use the poll. Let me know. We'll check it in the end. Soul Life, I can do call-ins, but I need to be given a topic. That's fair. That's fair. I'll think of one. I'll think of a specific topic. Because I'm with you. When I call into shows, I prefer to have a thing they want to talk about generally. I called into the Majority Report once, years and years ago, and it was a disaster. It was not good. Because I wanted to talk about something that nobody else wanted to talk about, and I was one of those callers where you're like, oh, next. So goes life. Let's start this off light. Because I'm going to be, believe it or not, sympathetic to Republicans. Very sympathetic to Republicans and a centrist Democrat, I believe. Let's have a quick gander at there we go. At a clip about grown senators having a punch up. Well, the de-evolution of the Republican Party continues, and it's just delightful to watch. It really is. So these punks, I don't know if you've watched the McCarthy news, but they're elbowing each other now. They're starting to shove. They're starting to crack under the pressure. And they're acting like children who were raised by wolves. So they're still children. They still have the emotional and, from what I've seen, physical maturity of children. And at the same time, raised by wolves. Which is to say, not well. Here's something delightful that actually happened.
We can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt.
Oh,
Big guy.
oh, stop it.
Is that your solution, every problem?
No. Listen. And I mean this, even though I'm laughing at it, and even though I acknowledge it's silly. I do mean this. Just like I don't think anyone should fly the Confederate flag, I will nonetheless defend to my final breath the right of somebody to fly a Confederate flag. Now, I also have a right to make it uncomfortable for you to have done such a thing in my presence, and I shall, and I encourage you all to do the same. But the principle of the thing is important, and similarly, what did that person start with? Now that he's standing, I can't even remember. Was that the MAGA guy that did that thing? I don't remember. But similarly, he said, we're two consenting adults. And there was agreement. Hey, gang, go on. Let them have it. Let them have at it. So here's my only objection thus far. It's the people's time. It's professional time. They're there being paid currently to be talkers, not sluggers. So I think if you do that, if you interrupt the people's time with a personal matter, you should lose your seat. Or at the very least, I don't know, like automatically trigger a recall election, something along those lines. But if they're both consenting, who cares? Let these idiots tear each other to pieces. Good. It's no loss to anybody. Bernie Sanders is like, no, come on. We got to be mature. No, we don't. We do not have to be mature. We do not have to be grown-ups. They are not grown-ups. They're just not. Let the people see what they are. Don't help them. Don't force them into their church clothes and drag them to the pew. And then say, look at that. That's a good church-going boy. No, he isn't. He's been made to act civilized by more civilized people, but he's not. Nor is the guy he's hollering at. And I'll tell you this: I don't even remember who the people involved were, because it's such a silly ass little altercation. It's so insignificant. Let's say it's a centrist Democrat and a MAGA Republican, and they both get expelled. Not because they came to an agreement and had a big immature settling of their disagreement, but because they wasted the people's time, and they both get expelled. That's a net gain for Democrats. We have a majority, so subtracting one from our numbers is slightly less bad than subtracting one from their numbers. Net gain! Let's say it was two MAGA types. Well, that's just a huge gain. But regardless, if this is who they are, we should be allowed to see it. That's my only point. Just like I said, I think, months ago, if Marjorie Taylor Greene and I want to resolve our dispute by leg wrestling, I don't know, doing a thumb war, or whatever silly-ass, childish way we decide, that's our business, is it not? And I think this is their business. So I am actually coming out on the side of that ridiculous creature that somebody has decided should be a senator. And the only thing I ask of the American people is to understand this is where we are. This is where we are now. Is this really what we want? Oh, delightful.
No, sit down. Sit down. Okay. No, you're a United States Senator. Sit down.
Active.
Oh, okay.
Sit down, please.
All right.
Can I respond?
Hold it. If we can't, no,
This is
I have
what
the
he
mic.
said.
I'm sorry.
This is
Hold
what
it.
he said.
You'll have your time.
Okay.
Can I respond?
Oh, no, you can't. This is a hearing. And God knows the American people have enough of contempt for Congress. Let's not
I don't
make
like
it worse.
thugs and bullies.
You have,
And that's
you
what-
have
I don't like you, because you
Hold
just
it.
described yourself.
Hold it.
I don't like bullies. I don't like you. You just described yourself. I'm rubber, you're glue. And then you see Bernie Sanders thinking about all the books he's read to understand how things work, and all the appeals to logic he's tried over the years, and you see him just like, this is what we end up with. This is what I was working so hard to fight against. This. I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
You have the mic.
Yeah.
You have time.
All right.
Make your statement.
Then let's do this, because I did challenge you, and I accepted your challenge, and you went quiet.
No, I didn't go quiet. I was.
Hold on.
You challenged me to a cage match, acting like a 12-year-old schoolyard bully.
Excuse
If you want to run your mouth, we can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on.
Big guy.
Oh, stop it.
Is that your solution every
Hold
problem?
it. No, sit down. Sit down.
I
You
just
know,
can't
you're a
put it
United
down.
States Senator. Sit down.
Act it.
Okay.
Sit down, please.
Oh. Oh, my word. I truly am in support of any time we have senators that want to literally go old-fashioned. First of all, let me remind, just in case we do have let's say, a big movement of senators that want that want to settle it with a slap fight or whatever. I have, first of all, a clarification of the rules. Let's say we're winding it back to the 1800s, and we're going to go properly old school. Just remember, the challenger is free to make their challenger, but they cede the selection of armaments to the challenged. So the person who accepts the challenge decides by what means the duel will take place. And I say this because I suspect a lot of Republicans are going to be the kind that toss out these challenges, and Democrats have backbones, so they'll say fists and teeth, please, as opposed to guns, and those are the rules. Thing number two is you needn't restrict yourself, senators. You needn't restrict yourselves to things as uncreative as an old-fashioned ass whipping or a shooting. Take, for example, if your whole caucus wants to settle something like this. If your whole caucus wants to get involved, you can play a game that my friends and I used to play called Putty Ball. And it's essentially basketball. 1 second. It's essentially basketball, but you slap each other. It's skins versus shirts, and you slap each other when you have the ball. And when you don't have the ball, you're not allowed to slap. So you slap all around the body, and it's a lot of fun. I do apologize for this sudden interruption, but folks, there's something happening with my Jack Russell Terrier. I will keep laughing at these clowns with you in a moment. But first, I got to go check on the terrier. Quick song. I'll be back in a little bit.
She's a pretty half-blood, dark hair, long hair. What's up? People looking in the streets now. The attitude is there, not scared uptown, but beware, she's gonna put her foot down. She looks you in the eye, she doesn't know what she's got to do. Walks around, looking for the door now. I got a clear view, what I want and how to, in what mood, but I'm not the only boss here. She's a pretty half-blood, dark eyes, long hair. What's up? People looking in the streets now. The attitude is there, not scared uptown, but beware, she's gonna put her foot down. Oh yeah, she's looking for the chair. I should have seen she's over here. She wants me to take her in now. Her name is what a J, that it is. And now I see what she needs and where it's gonna go down. I've gotta say she does magic things in my head, in my scene. And baby, she's all wild. I've shown a lot of things, hands down, the big dreams. And it seems I'm getting what I want now. Body is a drug, silk tone, sweet love. This time, she's lying in my bed, yeah. And after all the things we've seen, tough love, no dreams, I'm ready for the next one. Oh yeah, she's looking for the
Ventura. Excuse me, no, that's Two-Face. Donau. Thank you for being patient with me. We had a claw caught in a place it shouldn't have been, and the terrier is now freed, and his toesies have been kissed, and he is now feeling much better. Oh, let's read some comments. Tinkerbell, you are a senator. Act like it. I can't get over that. Yeah, I'm fully of the belief that let them reveal themselves. The same reason I ought not to be in one of those seats. None of them should be either. Shade Dragon, acting like a senator means Cochise orgies, which is arguably more awkward in the Senate. Well, that's fair. Rex Trek, I'm so out of the music loop. Nobody will have heard of these musicians because they have all been purchased by a music selling service, which is itself experimental. So they're all new. Tinkerbell, excuse me, read that one already. Tao and Jack. Oh my God, the anti-corporatists. I thought Mullen was saying consenting adults was weird. Ooh, Rex Trek. I have a white Cavachon Bichon King Cavalier mix. I'll tell you this, the Bichon, oh no, excuse me, I'm thinking of the Dandy Ditmont Terrier. I was going to say the Bichon is one of the more rare dogs. It is actually pretty rare. So that's an interesting thing to have in there, and looks very similar to a Dandy Ditmont, but is not the same. Tao and nonetheless sounds like a very good dog. Tao and Jack, I will say that O'Brien's last two statements in his tweet were controversial. It could have been viewed as a threat. That said, it was interesting that the anti-PC crowd is losing it over mean tweets. Yeah. The Mike's Dead show. There were two MAGA types in actual fisticuffs. Kevin McCarthy and Tim Burchett. Yes, 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 yes. And again, I'm silly as it sounds. In fact, silly as it is. I acknowledge that it is silly, and I'm okay with there being such a thing as silliness in our earth. I'm fine with this, as long as they're consenting. Now, see, the problem with Kevin McCarthy is he acted too much like a Republican. He sucker punched. Can't do that. That's just assault. That is a crime. It is a crime, and should be treated as such. obviously he's got plausible deniability in that case. You can just say, "Oh, I bumped into the man." But you know, if you say, "All right, we a pair of United States senators, we a pair of office working dainty types are going to settle our differences with a karate match." I don't know. Yeah, let them. And just make it clear when you're running against them in the primary or you are their opponent in the general election, just make it clear that's what they do with your time. That's how they handle all that work that went into getting him elected. That's what it resulted in. Some fucking guy elbowing another guy in the hallway. And, yeah. Oh, it made my whole, that, honestly, that really picked me up. Shade Dragon, so, like, are we sure they wanted to fight? Maybe they don't like beef, they like pork. You never know with elected people these days. Yeah, maybe. Who's to say? Tao and Jack, oh, wait, I read that. Let me jump up. I saw something I wanted to read. Soul Life, this is a tough poll. Colin Powell is dead on one hand, but I really don't want to hear bad lefties call either. Oh no. Jade Dragon, good to see you. I think I said hi earlier, but I just came across your first message there. Ooh, anti-corporatist. I didn't have to deliver to an aircraft hangar, so I could walk on air right now. Excellent. Think about whatever Jake wants Wednesday. Yes. Rex Track oil wrestling. I would love it if we decided things with like bar entertainment, like wet t-shirt contests and mud wrestling and what have you. But there is no, like, attractiveness is not a factor. I want to see McConnell up there with a paper thin t-shirt. Like, all right, well, we're going to keep the filibuster if you agree that I have a better rack than Schumer. I mean, it's devolving, and it's not a good sign that it's devolving. But if it is in these people's hearts to devolve, then yes, let them throw their feces, and at least then we know what we're dealing with. On to more consequential matters. Significantly more consequential. This was recommended to me, and I just can't thank you enough. The Beau of the Fifth column. I think this one was you, but it might have been Franny Pete. Beau of the Fifth column a couple days ago. I should probably do the intro. Beau of the Fifth column a couple days ago did a really good job of pointing out how the blocking of military promotions is no longer just a Tommy Tuberville problem. It's no longer just a move being done by Tommy Tuberville. It is a move being done by the Republican Party. And the Republican Party should, in turn, carry the political consequences of that. He explains his reasoning here. I agree with it, and I'd like to say that we should take it a step farther and be active in talk about how we can be active in following his advice.
Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Beau again.
Howdy, Beau.
So today we are going to talk about the Republican Party's hold on promotions in the Department of Defense. And that's what it is now. You know, up until now, it has been Tuberville's hold. But a string of recent developments made it real clear that it's not just Tuberville. It's the Republican Party, specifically those in the Senate, but it's the Republican Party. It isn't just one senator, which is how it's been framed. And up until recently, that was accurate. But see, you had this event. You had a bunch of Republican senators, a handful of Republican senators come to the floor and state the case. Republican senators that all, maybe, but I know the majority of them were actually in the military at some point. And they talked about how this hold damages readiness, retention, recruitment, everything, and how devastating it can be, and how the long-term effects of what's happened already is going to take a long time to sort out.
Just as one, as one point of clarity, one of the dudes who's been doing 2 jobs instead of 1 because of the promotions being held up was put in the hospital with a heart attack. The Republican Party is literally harming the troops. That is who they are.
They made the case publicly. And the Republican Party as a whole did nothing. They held a closed-door meeting to basically try to talk to Tuberville. But they didn't make him. They didn't decide to reach across the aisle and go around him, which means they made a calculated decision and said, you know what? It's not worth it. We're not going to fight for it. We're not going to try to control our own conference. You own it now. The Republican Party owns this. They made the decision. They did the political math, chose to put party over country and all of that stuff. This,
I can, or rather, I'd like to take a moment to explain what that political math is. It would be better for most of them if this was just done with. They don't care how. Except they kind of need to worry about how. Even if they don't personally care. They are conscious of one fact. Whether it is true or perceived, this is what they are operating under. Being seen to work with Democrats at all is a liability to them. It is more dangerous for them to be seen voting with Democrats on anything than it is for them to get military promotions done. Having your behavior being that predictable, that shallow and that predictable can be a massive liability. We should take note of this. We should take note of this. We can use this, and I recommend we look for opportunities to do so in the future. But if we know that these punks are so unwilling to work with us, I think we should put forward the most universally loved ideas and just make them vote against it again and again and again and again. Just do the cheap and effective politics of making them do multiple votes. And just say, okay, let's define for the American people what Republicans hate. We have a holiday in that supports a Jewish scientist. We know they will vote against Democrats. Should we say we're going to put forward a measure not to cancel Social Security, not to change it in any way, not to change it, not to lessen it in any way. We're going to put forward a motion. Social Security from here on out can only expand. It can never contract. Watch them all scramble to vote against it. Okay, so therefore contracting Social Security, making it worse. Got it. Medicaid, only expand, never contract. Oh, look at them lining up. So they are against Medicaid. Got it. So they hate Social Security and they hate Medicaid. And those are who you want to vote for? Older voters? Really? Are you sure? I don't know. I might not. And they will fall for it because they're dummies.
This is no longer Tuberville's hold. This is the Republican Party's hold. They absolutely have the power to end this at any moment. At any moment. And they have chosen not to. The rumor mill about what occurred in that closed-door meeting. Sure, Tuberville is now coming out and talking about, well, I'm going to consider options and all of that stuff. Consider options. That means that the leadership in the Senate left him thinking there are options, which means they're co-signing it. It is no longer Tuberville's hold. It's the Republican Party's hold. And that needs to be acknowledged because people who were reporting accurately for a very long time called it Tuberville's hold. Because up until then, up until that moment on the Senate floor when you had Republicans coming out and talking about how damaging it is, it was the work of one person.
And clips that you see about this in the future, whether it be on progressive channels or centrist stuff like MSNBC or CNN, when you talk about it on social media, when you talk about it in public, make sure you keep saying, you refer to it as the Republican bloc, the Republican hold on military promotions, the Republican obstruction to military promotions. Republican, Republican, Republican. Generalize. For the sort of people that only glance at the headlines or watch maybe one or two clips a month about this stuff, just to see what's happening. And for the slim percentage of them that scroll down and read some of the comments to see what their fellow Americans or fellow people of Earth think of what is happening. Make it easy for them to understand what this is. Republicans are the problem. And if it's the sort of person who knows so little about politics that they ever consider voting for Republicans, they're like, well, sometimes I like to mix it up and vote for Republicans. Not this time. Not this time. They are a clown party full of killer clowns from outer space.
But now it's not. Either it's a concerted effort to keep it going, or the rest of the Republican Party, those who wouldn't speak up, those who won't vote to go around him, they're just too apathetic to fix it. It's one of the two. So this mess and all of the mess that it's going to cause over the next, assuming it ends today, I don't know, about a year and a half, maybe 2 years. That's the Republican Party's mess. They did it. This could have been solved very easily early on. This is a good reminder of why certain things never were politicized, or rarely were politicized. Because some things are just apolitical. The damage that is caused is now, it's a gift from a Republican Party that is in so much disarray, they can't even figure out whether or not they support the troops, which is like the Republican Party's thing. The roadblock that has been put up, it's now not just one person manning it. It's not just Tuberville. It's the entire Republican Party. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.
Great point. Great point. This is true of most things that an individual Republican does. The rest of their party has an opportunity to tell them to act like sane human beings, but they don't, because they don't give a They want chaos. They want government not to function. That's part of their sales pitch. Let's make government smaller. Why make government smaller? Because it's then cheaper for big businesses in the extremely short term. Of course, long term, the country gets worse, but these are Republicans. They don't care about your children. They don't care about your future. They don't care about your immediate health, your future health, your kids' health. They don't care about the continued existence of the earth after they are not on it. They literally only care about stealing from you. Republicans are criminals. It is an organization of con men, of thugs, of cretins. It is a foul group, and we should make it very, very clear to anyone who has a say in how the country is run or will be run, anyone at all, that this is their fault. We are weaker now. Literally, our military is weaker because of the actions of the Republican Party. Make sure folks know. Pinkerbell, if Dems had even half a clue about strategy outside of DC's royal court intrigue, they would be doing what you suggest, Jake. Well, thank you. I don't know. I honestly don't know what happened. I don't know how we got the dumbest, weakest Democrats I have. Not Democrats. I don't know how we got the dumbest, weakest politicians I could ever have imagined to be Democrats over my lifetime. It's really only in my lifetime a handful of U.S. politicians that have been worth a damn. But you're right, Pink. It's not in their nature to be savvy. And I don't know why. I don't have an explanation for that. They could not find their way out of a wet paper bag. And I look forward to them being the new conservatives, frankly. I look forward to them inheriting that by default. Because we, the progressives, will destroy them. We will clean up, frankly. And I look forward to the next phase of there just being conservative progressives and progressive progressives. And so on and so forth. The Overton window is going to narrow considerably, because right now it's the Overton gaping hole in the wall. And it's big enough for the Nazis to get in. So we got work to do on that front. Rex Trek, I can be thug adjacent. Fair enough. Groove Dragon, gotta dig old Bo's laid back vibe. Just a thought. Yeah, I wish I had a little piece of that. I don't. Soul Life, they weaken the country in many aspects. Once Project 2025 happens, I'm curious how they'll blame the left for its destruction. Yes. Yeah, Project 2025 will not happen. Because I will not allow it, and nor, I suspect, will you. But the way we make sure it doesn't happen is to make sure everybody we know knows about it. Pendulous Dragon, they think I think our military will be okay if it's a little weaker. You know, there's multiple ways you can weaken a military, and this is one of the only ones that I wouldn't suggest for the United States. Less killing machines, sure. Less people overall in it, sure. Taking the leadership and stretching them out means that we have the world's, no, not even that. We have humanity's greatest stockpile of weaponry ever being poorly supervised. I don't like that. I do not like that. The thing we've weakened is like the safety on this apocalypse-causing gun. It is dangerous, and it's dangerous for the user and the targets and the people standing next to the targets and really just everyone involved. It's not a good thing. If there's anything that you want always, even in a country that doesn't have a military that leaves its borders, even in a country that just like has a defense force, like Japan, for example. The number one thing you're gonna want is leadership, because otherwise, you have a bunch of people who are literally not responsible for the greater actions of the organization, walking around with guns. But your premise, I don't think, is wrong. Specifically this thing. That's where I think I would part. I would say leadership. I want there to be those roles filled, and frankly, filled by more carefully chosen people than we have in the past. But I think that's a fantasy until we get a progressive president. Not to be a bummer. Oh my God. Who does that? Rex Trek, good one, Soul Life. I love when people refer to Pelosi as a progressive as if. Ugh. Soul Life, Bannon just did an interview clarifying how Project 2025 is long-term and an independent movement from Trump, who, by comparison, is a moderate will long have to back. No, I heard that as well. The way to deal with Project 2025 is to get rid of the people who are considering it. Do away with them entirely. It's the same plan as we have for everything else. Win the House, win the Senate, win the White House in 2024 so thoroughly that there's a crisis of faith amongst Republicans, and they start abandoning ship, and they become a broken party. We have to utterly break them. Otherwise, it's just going to be a matter of when. It'll be as soon as we take the eye off the ball and they get people in positions of power. Let's say it's 2028, and it becomes Project 2029. We can't play with that. That needs to be done with forever. No more Republican Party. In my lifetime, I will see it done with. Tinkerbell, have you seen the dude? He's pickling himself. Yeah, he and I are in a race to see who can self-mummify fastest. And I can't believe he's beating me, but I got to give him credit. He is. Soul Trek, Rex Trek, look at how TYT separated the term progressive from the left. It's the same mentality. Interesting. I will say this. I'm annoyed that the term liberal now means centrist. That annoys me. Because left and right are not useful. They're too contextual. And sometimes they mean literal directions. I do like progressive as a way of describing us. And I would say MAGA, it would be accurate to call as regressive. In fact, Republicans in general, I would say, are regressive. Centrist Dems are conservatives, and progressives are progressive. Shade Dragon, the doors don't work on some of our nuclear stockpiles. People delivering pizzas can wander in. Oh God, I hope that's not a thing. Sounds like it's a thing. I hope you are somehow misinformed. Shade Dragon, I'd still like to know why, when Bannon sold a residence, the door to a room with a jacuzzi only locked from the outside, and the jacuzzi had what looked like acid erosion on it. You know, he's a Republican, so I will assume that every crime a person can commit, he has committed and is currently committing and will continue to do so until he's locked in a cell for the rest of his days. That said, jacuzzi rooms are weird. They're usually awkwardly made. It's a fun little hobby thing. The acid erosion I could see being some sort of a pool cleaner that was just left there or whatever. Or maybe it was to clean the jism off. Who's to say? Whatever it was certainly gross. But he's done so much for sure that was definitely criminal. And he is such an actual criminal that I don't find a need to speculate about further wacky crimes. He's already as wacky as it gets. He wears multiple shirts everywhere like a lame supervillain. He's as wacky as it gets. And a criminal. The Mike's Dead Show. Jake, what is up with Steve Schmidt, former ex-Lincoln group? Steve Schmidt. I don't know. Does anybody know what this is in reference to? Well, I'm trying to highlight Steve. I mean, are we talking about the news guy? Soul Life, let the kids free, Bannon. Tinkerbell, wait, but doesn't that mean things are moving more left if liberal is now conservative? Oh, yeah, for sure. But it's just the I don't know what the phrase is, etymology. The meaning of the word has changed. Liberal in a European sense is different, but I realize I'm also thinking about libertarian in a European sense, and I don't remember which was the initial thing that got me thinking about that. But yeah, I mean, there did not used to be really anything like the progressive movement we have now. The closest we had was people like myself that proudly called themselves liberals. And that meant, when you said, I'm a liberal, that meant you were like, a wild lefty. You believed super far left things like black people are human beings and gay people shouldn't be hunted and things such as that. I'm glad that a need for a more left-sounding word has come about. But I can't at the same time. I can't, even though we've had a left group rise, I can't say that things generally have gone more to the left, because they haven't. They've really gone to the right overall. That group of progressives that has risen up, of which I would count all of you talking now as part of it, that was as a reaction to the rise of the right. You may personally have held very lefty beliefs for your whole life, but this movement, this organized movement of people that understand how things work, has created progressives out of people who, 20 years ago, would have considered themselves very middle of the road and probably wouldn't have called themselves even liberals. And it's not a surprise that this happened, because the more people learn about politics, the more progressives you will get. When all these groups watch the populace learn about politics, they know that the number of people who consider themselves as far left as there is will skyrocket. Well, the rest of them will make very small gains or have losses, their overall numbers. Because you have to learn very wrong if you're conservative, and if you're a Democrat, you have to learn very shallowly about how anything works. Soul Life, wouldn't liberals bring convenience? Liberals bring convenience mean the opposite, Pinky, a shift right. I mean, what she was saying was with the verbiage, it seems like a shift. Anyway, it's we're splitting hairs about words. Pinkerbell, Bernie had a lot to do with that. Yes, he did. Yeah, he definitely did. I think if 2016 was run over, not going to be, but if it were run over again, we would have Bernie presidents. Bernie did have a ton to do with that, but you learn about things like increasing taxes on the super wealthy once you've developed a curiosity. And he was able to develop a curiosity with promises of things like Medicare for all. That's good. However, first you have to be hurt. First, life has to show you why that's of interest to you, having free health care. If you've been healthy your whole life, you probably haven't thought about it all that much. And when Charlottesville happens, and a bunch of people, literally a mob with torches, are shouting, "The Jews will not replace us." And then the president doesn't denounce them. If you're Jewish and you didn't care about politics before, suddenly you're going to care about politics. If you're black, if you are gay, if you're an atheist, fill in the blank, you've been attacked by the far right. And you're probably curious as to why they are attacking you and why no one is stopping them. That makes progressives. As much work as Bernie did, he made, above all else, he made progressives seem like an actual viable path to power. But the interest in progressive politics, in my opinion, more, not entirely, but more, came from the threat represented by the far right. You have no choice if you're one of their targets, and if you're anything but them, you're one of their targets. The Mike's Dead Show, to frame how the establishment works. Torn jeans from the hippies were a shock to the establishment. Within 20 years, people were paying for $400 designer jeans from the establishment. Yeah. Which are torn to look like the hippie jeans. Yeah. Shade Dragon, Trump didn't win 2016. He bought it. Let me further mess with that. Trump didn't win 2016. He was gifted it by, of course, Putin and also the Electoral College. This is true of every Republican president we have had in this century, except for George Bush in 2004. The Electoral College is designed to put a thumb on the scales for the Republicans. It really is necessary for us to win overwhelming victories. On that note, if you live in a state, no, let me try this again. If you know someone who lives in a state where it's hard to live as a decent person, for example, if you're Wireless Mike, understand they're doing the Lord's work. They are, with their vote and with their presence as decent human beings, they are holding back an unfair tide and giving us a glimmer of hope that we will be able to sneak a couple of very needed victories into the Electoral College. I'm not saying you should feel bad if you leave there. That's sort of the whole point of why it's heroic. It's understandable if you leave. It's understandable if you move on. You have to live your own life at some point. You cannot live your whole existence for others. But those who are there, we should be very grateful for. Let me name someone who's not in the stream. Aaron Ra. He's a well-known atheist, a very public atheist in Texas. He ran for office. This is a state where people get shot for disagreeing with psychos. Of course he lost. But he nonetheless fought the good fight. It's the same thing. I will forever be grateful to him, just like I am forever grateful to Wireless Mike. Justin Jones, Justin Pearson, Gloria, whatever, Johnson. They are in office because of people like Mike. They are there to fight the good fight because of people like Mike. Thank you. That said, if there's any southern state that you're thinking of moving to, may I recommend Texas? Because it's a lot of electoral college votes, and it's right on the verge of tipping. It requires right now a tremendous amount of gerrymandering to sustain itself as a red state. Ooh. Soul Life with the heartbreaking news. I left my cheese whiz at work. What time is it? 8:21. Good God Almighty. All right, we're gonna do Scorpion Venom. Speaking of, here's my thank you to Wireless Mike. I just got this email from him. It is amongst the strangest titles I've seen for a video. From A More Perfect Union. And it's about Amazon's monopoly. I have no idea the content of the video. Before we go into this, let me just say, please use the link in the description. Write your representatives. Ask for a ceasefire now in Gaza. I don't care if they're Republicans. I don't care if they're centrist Democrats. I don't care if yesterday they said that all Palestinians should be exterminated. Wait on the side of peace. Lend your voice to that. And hope that the weight of your voice will dissuade the worst from chiming in with their worst ideas, and will inspire the best to insist upon decency. But contact your representatives, all of them, and say you want a ceasefire now, because they are your voice. Don't let your voice say what you don't want it to. Well, this here is from A More Perfect Union. It's a suggestion by Wireless Mike. Thank you so much, Wireless Mike, fighting the good fight for us all in Tennessee. We're going to look at it. It's about Amazon. It's about unions. And it's about Scorpion. It's not about unions. It's about Amazon. It's about monopolies. And it's about scorpion venom. I cannot imagine how these things connect, but we're going to find out.
At a time when I ordered some fun hats on Amazon as a joke for my friends and wound up getting scorpion venom. And how I also got a valuable lesson about Amazon's monopoly over everything that's bought and sold on the internet. So it starts a few years ago when my friends and I got really into sweating it out in the sauna. I had this great idea to buy everyone sauna hats. So I went on Amazon Marketplace and I poked around until I finally hit the jackpot. These sauna hats emblazoned with an oil rig and the word oligarch in Cyrillic. I bought 4 of them from a seller called Russian Bear. Finally, I get...
Okay, well, I like this gal. I'm just chiming in to say I like this gal. For the record, we do have a what you can do about getting rid of oligarchs, but let's first pay attention to this monopoly run by an oligarch.
Get a package from overseas plastered with over 20 stamps. I open it and there are no hats. Instead, there's a vial of a medicine called Vitatox, which is a cancer drug manufactured in Cuba and illegal in the US, made from the venom of the blue scorpion. I posted about this on Twitter and it went viral. But when all the fun died down, I was left without my oligarch hats and instead with a burning question. Why is the Amazon marketplace so chaotic? And who is benefiting from all of this mayhem? When I investigated, I learned that the Wild West nature of Amazon Marketplace is in many ways directly related to the company's tightening stranglehold on our economy. A new lawsuit from the Federal Trade Commission accusing Amazon of being a monopoly is providing us with some answers for the very first time. Behind my scorpion venom story lies a whole host of exploitative practices that are degrading the user experience, raising prices across the internet, and crushing competition, all ultimately geared toward making Amazon the only game in town. In order to understand why Amazon's consumer experience is so sloppy, I went to Stacy Mitchell, co-executive director of the Institute for Local Self-Reliance. Stacy told me that my story was definitely on the weird side, but not that surprising.
It's just confusing and it's a big mess. And it's degraded quite sharply over recent years, and I think that's a real indication of monopoly power, that Amazon does not face the discipline of having competitors that it has to try to keep up with.
But it's not just a matter of laziness. Stacy told me that Amazon actually leverages the mess to get what it wants.
Amazon really benefits from this kind of chaos and this free-for-all. And the reason is that it puts authentic, legitimate businesses, it destabilizes them. They really kind of struggle in that environment to find their footing and to make connections with customers because they're constantly being kind of knocked over by these underhanded sellers.
I originally just wanted to know why Amazon is so chaotic and spammy these days, given that it probably has the resources to clean up its act. But after talking to Stacy, I realized that the mayhem is connected to how Amazon squeezes and bullies sellers on its site, which is a major component of the FTC's allegation that Amazon is acting as a monopoly and breaking the law.
So this lawsuit is fundamentally about protecting free and fair competition. And the U.S. antitrust laws prohibit firms from using their monopoly power to punish or preclude or prevent competition. And that's what our lawsuit lays out that Amazon has done.
The FTC's case argues that Amazon has a monopoly in online commerce and that Amazon is engaged in a set of strategies to preserve that monopoly. And a central part of this argument that the FTC is making is about the control that Amazon has over sellers.
People who want to sell things on the internet really don't have much choice other than to use Amazon. Over 150 million Americans are Amazon Prime members. Prime members get great deals from Amazon, especially free and fast shipping. Why would they want to shop anywhere else? Third-party sellers trying to hack it on Amazon's marketplace are increasingly reliant on two things: the buy box and Prime eligibility. These two pieces are key to the federal government's case against Amazon's monopoly. The coveted buy box is the fancy buy now, add to cart icon you see on product pages. If you, as a seller, are eligible for it, you stand a much greater chance of cutting through the noise and grabbing customers' attention. But there's a catch. If Amazon finds out that a third-party seller is selling a product anywhere on the internet for a lower price, they remove the buy box and make it nearly impossible for users to purchase the item. Amazon has bots that trawl the internet, so this rule is hard to get around.
And because most sellers depend on Amazon for 80–90% of their sales, they can't risk that. And so what they end up doing is inflating their prices across the web so that they match the same price that they have on Amazon and don't run into this retaliation. But if you think about that, what that means is that consumers are paying inflated prices everywhere, no matter where you shop online.
This practice creates the illusion that Amazon has the lowest prices around. And it often does, but only by fiat. The FTC is accusing Amazon of artificially inflating its competitors' prices to maintain its monopoly power.
If you have a company that's both hiking prices and worsening services for customers, that's the type of situation that should create an opening for rivals to come in, to attract business, to grow. But it's really Amazon's exclusionary scheme that is keeping that from happening.
The second way third-party sellers can stand out is via Amazon Prime. This is the reason we all flock to Amazon, for the free 2-day shipping that Prime members get when they buy Prime items. But to be included in the Prime program, third-party sellers basically sell their souls to Amazon. They have to pay for costly Fulfillment by Amazon Services, or FBA, and that's on top of an already hefty transaction fee that they pay just for selling anything on Amazon.
Okay, so Amazon has been doing this for years and years and years. I'm delighted that we're dealing with it through the FTC. I'm annoyed it took this long. Reason number 10,432 to get progressives in the House, Senate, and White House. Part of a healthy capitalist economy is regulation. Neoliberalism, which is what the majority of Democrats and all Republicans worship instead of God. It's the idea that there should be no regulation whatsoever. As little regulation as you can get away with. Well, that leads to poisonous businesses like Amazon. Even if you are the sort of person who thinks we should not have any capitalism at all in the United States, I don't think you're the sort of person who thinks we don't currently have it. And I haven't heard anybody advocating for like accelerationism with capitalism, make things so bad that they break, or rather allow things to get so bad that they break. So all of us, whether you're a diehard capitalist or someone who wants to do away with it altogether for a system you view as better, all of us, for the health of the current capitalist system we exist in, should be advocating for strong regulations. And the only people who will do that are serious people. So, progressives.
We are definitely subsidizing
in many cases, our own destruction.
This is Nicholas Parks, a hot sauce aficionado who runs a third-party sales business called Snob Foods. Nicholas has very discerning taste.
Comes out of New Orleans from a French market, great restaurant in New Orleans.
Snob Foods has its own website, but again, Nicholas has little choice but to do the vast majority of his business on Amazon's marketplace. He also uses FBA, which means he stores a lot of his inventory in Amazon warehouses and delivers them via Amazon trucks. Without it, he wouldn't be eligible for a Prime badge and would be buried in Amazon search results.
If it doesn't come up as a Prime listing, they never see it because that's the way they search. That's the way that they use Amazon. They only want items that are gonna arrive at their house within 1 or 2 days.
Amazon effectively requires sellers to use its fulfillment. If they don't use its fulfillment, they don't qualify for the Prime badge. If your items are not available for Prime, you essentially don't make any sales on Amazon. So you have to use their fulfillment.
Of the top 10,000 sellers on Amazon, 90% use FBA. One effect this has is that it drives sellers away from using other competitors. They keep an increasingly large amount of their inventory in Amazon's warehouses and tailor their business around Amazon sales. The prospect of selling on rival websites becomes less and less attractive.
That logistics operation effectively becomes a tool for maintaining its e-commerce monopoly.
The fees that sellers pay to stay viable on Amazon are rapidly increasing, jumping almost 50% from just 6 years ago.
The consequences of that are very serious for sellers who now pay $1 out of every $2 to Amazon. So this is effectively a 50% tax. And that in turn inflates prices for consumers.
In the first half of 2023, Amazon spent $82 billion on its world-famous fast shipping operation. Conveniently, over the same period, it also racked up $82 billion in seller fees. Amazon uses seller fees to pay for the fast and free shipping that brings customers to Amazon and squashes competitors. No competitors means nowhere else for sellers to go, which means more subservience to Amazon, a toxic cycle.
So that is how monopolies tend to work. And that is why monopolies as a rule are not allowed, literally. It's not because of the business practices they use to get there. It's what they can do once they are there. Once they are there, they can decide what the price is on whatever they have a monopoly is, regardless of whether or not it's fair, regardless of whether or not it's good for you or the country or anybody else except one person, just one, who is the person who runs the company. Jeff Bezos, the rat, he is the reason that you have spent more on an online shopping than you needed to. He stole from you with scumbag business practices. If you've bought anything online, whether you bought it from Amazon or not, it cost you more because Jeff Bezos wanted a 303rd boat. Because Jeff Bezos wanted to go to space. You had to pay $30 for Christmas ornaments instead of $20. Doesn't seem that drastic until you total up how much you've spent over, let's say, a 5-year period on online shopping. And when you realize that 30% of that was unnecessary, it was purely a result of Jeff Bezos' greed, you then realize how much this guy is stealing from you and millions of other people. He is a professional thief. It's legal, this theft, but it's still theft.
2 million third-party sellers are kind of like these indentured servants. So as far as furthering the cause of market domination, if they decide to just delete your most popular listing, they just do it.
The FTC case alleges that Amazon biases search results in favor of its own first-party sales, even when it knows third-party sellers are offering higher quality items.
Selling on Amazon is very much like going to a casino. like ultimately the house always wins. The whole deck is stacked against you in ways that you can't even see.
In recent years, Amazon has started taking advantage of sellers' desperation to stay competitive by offering them yet another service they can pay for: advertising and paid priority listings.
Advertising income is the big new thing that subsidizes all of this, and that number just grows every year.
Nicholas also drew my attention to alphabet soup sellers, most of them based overseas in Asia, that are trademarking random strings of letters and selling the same products under multiple listings as a means of cornering the market. The prevalence of these brands works in Amazon's favor, since it encourages other third-party sellers to pay for advertising to set themselves apart from these fly-by-night manufacturers.
If you have 100 of these or 500 of these, it forces everybody else out of the organic search results. Then those other sellers are faced with either spending the money on advertising to move to the top, or they just go out of business.
The result for buyers is a shopping experience that is dizzyingly confusing, with pages and pages of ads and hardly any way to tell what's real or trustworthy. This brings my investigation full circle. We're finally back at the question of why Amazon is so chaotic, providing in many ways the opposite of the ultra-streamlined, super above-board user experience you might expect from the tech giant.
There's a race to the bottom. What we see on Amazon now is that there's a whole bunch of just cheap junk that lacks quality and is from just a very anonymous type of seller where there's also no customer service.
In that way, sellers and customers are united. Amazon isn't really looking out for the best interests of either of them. It's just looking out for Amazon and this guy.
There's never been a company that has this much power over.
I want to end it by talking about one fact that we should be very, very clear about. Jeff Bezos knows this. None of what she had to do all that work to figure out will be news to Jeff Bezos. He knows all of this. He built it like that intentionally. Why is that important? Well, because he knew it would be this way. He knew what he was building. He knew what he was doing. And he didn't stop it. He didn't change it. He intends for it to be this way. And he is allowed to spend an infinite amount of money influencing politicians. The FTC is going after him now. He is going to pour money into whoever will tell the FTC to knock it off, or to whoever will say, you know what? We're going to defund the FTC. They get in the way of good business. That's how Joe Manchin gets tons and tons of money. That's how any Republican gets tons and tons of money. Jeff Bezos, or someone like him that wants to thieve from you, pays them near infinite amounts of money to go be in office and to go be a pawn of his. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what makes him an oligarch. We have oligarchs in the United States. We have a very Russian, very Soviet problem, frankly, in the United States. And we let this happen because we ever trusted Republicans. Now we know, though. Now you see what Amazon is. Now you see who Jeff Bezos is. Now you understand how he thinks and what his intentions are for your wallet. You understand that he does not care about you, your children, small businesses starting out. He will choke them to death if he can. He will extort all of them, every last one, so that he can live a life of command over you and your family. He wants you to operate under the belief that he is your better. He wants the U.S. government to treat him like he is your better. And he wants that in exchange for having stolen from you, having stolen from the small businesses that actually make the things that he sells. I cannot, first of all, thank you, Wireless Mike, for the suggestion. Second of all, I can't think of a better microcosm for what the problem is. Somebody who doesn't actually do work. Thieving from people who are out there doing work. Somebody made those hats that lady wanted to buy when she actually got scorpion venom instead. Yeah, what'd she end up with? A fake cancer treatment made out of poison. When what she wanted was a hat. And that, because the person that did the labor of making the hats couldn't sell them. Not without Jeff Bezos getting a bribe. Oligarch. Use monopolies to break up the oligarchy. FTC, go get them. Excellent. Voters of America, take note. I recommend telling your representatives you want more money diverted to the FTC. You want people like Bezos taxed to pay for his own regulation. More IRS agents. More FTC employees. Paid for by the very villains that they would go after. Progressive House, Senate, and White House, 2024. Progressive county commissioners. Progressive mayors. Progressive state legislators, House and Senate. Progressive governors. Pick whichever you think sounds like the most fun. You want to be your progressive city council member? I'll tell you, I've met a couple. Back when I was reporting in Lansing, I met a very progressive city council, and it was like a block party, basically. Every time they got together, they had a hell of a lot of fun because they were like-minded folks engaging in a hobby together. Essentially, when you're city council in a small city, it's not your job. It's not your main job. It's just a thing you get a small stipend to do, and to thank you from the community, usually in the form of a re-election. And you get to decide how things go. You put in it's like with the military, one weekend a month. It's that sort of thing. But let's take this over from these punks, and let's convince as many people as we can to get involved in any level that they're willing to. Make the pitch for progressivism, because that's the answer for the oligarchy. Let's see what the wicked community has to say. Pinkerbell, apply this exact same line of thinking to corporate Dems, and you have the answer to why they do what they do. Cower in weakness, generally be useless, etc. What you can do, it is intentional. Yeah, I could see that. I do think it's intentional, but I think there is something else. I think there has been... I think it's a mix, basically. Because if you only view it as intentionality, then you're left thinking there might be some... I mean, I have, unfortunately, a more pessimistic take. You might be left thinking there's some competence to draw upon when it's really, really needed. And I have not seen that. It's even worse than just they're intentionally bad. I think it's that they're intentionally bad and they have no skill set built up. People who have been in Congress for a lifetime have wasted their lifetime. They have no negotiating skills because they haven't had to negotiate, really. It's all just been a series of concessions. And rather than being the conservatives slowly, resisting progressives, and slowly, bit by bit, giving in to progressive demands. It has been the conservatives of the Democratic Party slowly giving in, bit by bit, to the regressives of the Republican Party. And both of them happily demonizing progressives, as though going forward, as though making the country better is the worst thing we could do. So I agree with your assessment, and I would add on to it and say it's even worse. It's intentional for most of these motherfuckers, and they just don't have, in ways I'm not quite fully able to grasp, because they always disappoint me more than I was expecting. They just don't have the ability, the skills to legislate effectively. And I think all we can really do as a reaction to that is primary these motherfuckers. Like now, primary them. Toss out all the shitty Dems you can. If you live in an area with a shitty Dem, literally almost anyone, if you know nothing else about politics except like a very basic understanding of the purpose of being there, like, okay, I am the voice of my area and I will do my best to legislate in their interests, and I will read these bills and I will vote on these bills. If you understand that you're supposed to either write laws and then vote on them, or just vote on laws, you will do better than the people who are currently there. Because the people who are currently there think that that sort of behavior, that sort of activity is what you're supposed to do to get in the door. But the purpose of being there is to collect donations for the party for the next campaign, leaving us in this eternal cycle of just shitty leadership. Myself sad. Marianne McDermott. Where? Oh, it just updated and I lost it. Wireless Mike. Hi, y'all. I came in way late and I'm watching from the start at double speed, so I'm way behind. And I'm looking to make a deal. Hope everybody is well. All right, how are we gonna mess with Wireless Mike? Oh. What's up, man? Hey, yo, what's up? Yeah, what's going on, yo? I'm sick and tired of 5-0 running up on the block. You know what I'm saying? Yo, Snow. They came around looking for you the other day. Word? Word, busted. Informer, you know say daddy me Snow, me I go blame, I lick he boom boom down. Detective man say daddy me Snow, me stab someone down the lane, I licky boom boom down. Informer, you know say daddy me Snow, I go blame, I licky boom boom down. Detective man say daddy me Snow, me stab someone down the lane, I licky boom boom down. Canadian rap enthusiasts of a certain age will appreciate that. And hopefully Mike enjoys Canadian rap from the 90s. Soul Life. Loon, there are multiple channels that share chatters live. It's tearing us apart. Here's the deal, and I wanted to talk about this. If I am successful in what I am trying to do here, there will eventually be many, many medium to small size channels on at the same time as me. That's a good thing. And you can't be in two places. Well, you actually can be in two places at once, but don't make yourself crazy trying to be. That's wild. Here's the deal. If you enjoy the content, leave a like. Watch some of it. Leave a comment. Maybe when you see the VOD, pop in later and leave a comment and boost it in the algorithm and grow the audience. But my hope is that you have a glut of choices. My hope is that you get to see things and experience things that one person could never provide on their own. I want to eventually see like third and fourth channels of people who are like, all right, so I got together with a bunch of other progressive streamers, and this is our actual play. And eventually create a pipeline of interest. For example, our good friend the Anti-Corporatists has a gigantic truck that they drive around the country with, seeing the country and getting a unique perspective. There will be people that become fans of that man's channel starting from an interest in trucks. Neat. Neat. But all I'm saying is don't sweat it. Don't sweat it. It's all good, and it will continue to be. And it's a good sign if you can't decide what to watch. Once upon a time, the answer was there is no progressive show on. And so you watch whatever is least offensive. Donald James X, get your butt on Twitch, what you can do. Here's the thing, man. I know we're in the season for it now, but there's a cost to growing the channel. If you're not ready to I view monetizing the channel as a separate goal than becoming a very popular channel. I would like to make very popular videos occasionally, but I'm not looking to get 30,000 people watching a live stream, or what's a more realistic number? I'm not looking to get like 1,500 people watching a live stream, because I can't do the same content like that anymore. I would have to restrict it. Like, I would have to put this chat in slow mode and do top chat only, or say I'm only reading from channel members or some like that. I don't want to do that. I want somebody casual to be able to come in here and talk directly to either myself or a group of people that I know very well. That's the content I enjoy making. It's not the most money-makingest content, but the idea is to be activists together. So, more competent people than I could handle a big group like that and organize in a way that's effective. But I'm not. That ain't me. So, I will certainly take steps to grow the channel a little bit. But I don't want I'm just not ready. I guess I'm not ready to expand much farther than this. But I do want to help build movements that will work in 2024. Hence, I'm helping out anybody I can to get monetized so they get their money if they have something positive to say. Soul Life, dude, I won't watch channels with a slow mode chat. I leave. Yeah, me too. I don't like that vibe. I like this vibe. This to me is a good platform to which I can build content that I can then monetize. I'll tell you this, I might start another YouTube channel with the intention of making it a popular thing that blah, 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 blah. But I won't be doing live streams on that. Or if I'm doing live streams, they won't be this format. Hey, speaking of formats, let's have a look. What should be the second stream? Watching Sidney Powell testimony. I should have clarified. Donald James X and free. Multi-streaming is easy though and free. Yeah, but it accomplishes something that I am at the very. I don't even want to swear off forever because you're right. It's a good way to build an audience. I'm just not. I don't feel prepared to deal with having an audience that big. Guys, how often do you write me an email and it takes me like a month to respond? And the thing is, I like the emails you write, but I'm not in a position where I need to dance for my money yet. And I want to build something that I'm proud of first and foremost. And I might have to go dig ditches to pay for this thing. That's fine. To me, the priorities are just a little bit different than I think they are for other channels. Speaking of, the poll is over. The thing we're watching next is the Sidney Powell testimony that ABC got. Neat. I will see y'all there. This has been WYCD Wicked. Next stream starts in like 2 minutes, theoretically, but let's be real, it'll probably be like 12 minutes, so I'll see you then. This has been WYCD Wicked. That stands for What You Can Do. My name's Jake.